Football is a celebration in America, with thrilling games, rigorous offensive strategies, poetic athletic spirit, and the Super Bowl. The NFL knows how to serve. There's hardly any sport more unifying than football, but it's always more than what meets the eye. Americans love football, but is the NFL the hero that football needs? Well, not really. So what are some secrets of the NFL that no one talks about? Let's get started. Coming up first, when did the NFL turn into a money printing machine? We definitely understand why you're so confused. Remember when you were a kid and your dad would take you to the MetLife so you could witness the sport in all of its glory? Watching football on your home ground is always enjoyable. And let's be honest, it doesn't hurt to show your patriotism once in a while. But geez, think about watching the game from no place other than your couch, and it's an instant hit of $150. So whatever happened to the NFL's non-profit status? Well, it was obvious that the league was very much focused on building finances at the expense of some hefty ticket prices and cheap gigs to acquire stadiums from cities. Nonprofit organizations don't earn money that looks like the GDP of a small yet economically stable country. Yet the NFL had no issues with tricking the federal government into not paying any taxes whatsoever. Not to mention, aren't nonprofit organizations that cash hefty checks supposed to contribute towards social causes? Not the NFL, apparently. Have you ever seen the NFL working religiously for education, healthcare, gender equality, or anything bare minimum? Other than getting that community support to sell their tickets every season, the NFL have been looting a lot of money from their audiences and viewership rights. After major news outlets reported that the NFL have reportedly taken $1 billion from American taxpayers in tax breaks and free stadiums, fans were angry. Come on, after paying $150 for a terrible seat and $30 for cheap beer, you're telling us that the NFL has been ripping us off? We wouldn't like to pay heavy taxes in whatever circumstances. But the NFL's negligence of the well-being of footballers, terrible stadium conditions, and some weird favors to certain teams did beg a billion-dollar question. Hey NFL, where's my money going, dude? We'll never know. The NFL's financial records are their biggest secret. As of 2015, the NFL has given up its non-profit status. It pays taxes, but not as much as you'd like them to. PSA before we start unwrapping the next secret: don't buy NFL's Pinktober merch, because that's just another gimmick for the league to get some spare cash from you. Okay, socially responsible sporting leagues are one of the best ways to redirect public support for the problems we care about. Let's be honest here. If your home team / favorite team asks you to donate to your community's zoo, you'd want to save those monkeys. That's just how every sports team works. But supporting them for their social causes makes sense, because we also see them making some colossal donations too. Not NFL though. One of the most important social causes in NFL offices is breast cancer awareness and research. You know the drill. As soon as the clock hits midnight on September 30th, the NFL ditches its exhausting Halloween color schemes to flaunt pink everywhere. It changes its logo. We see the teams using pink towels, the beer cups are pink, and all banners are pink. You've seen it all. Now, after involving all of their teams and audiences in such a noble cause, you'd expect the NFL to donate millions. Ready to be disappointed again? The NFL only pays almost 11% of the raised funds to educational and awareness causes only. Yep, the rest of the money goes to the NFL's pink branding. And oh, the organization also takes a 1.2% cut off the donations. Now, before you buy that pink ribbon NFL pin for your jeans jacket, maybe consider donating to any other local charity instead. Okay, riddle us this. After raising money for breast cancer research, how many studies has the NFL funded? Small hint, the answer is the number of times the Cleveland Browns have won the Super Bowl. Yep, 0. Now let's talk about why NFL referees. As avid NFL fans, we've served a lot of referees with some grotesque profanities after a missed or a bad call. As much as we'd like to respect the sport, some NFL referees are truly a waste of space on the field. And after self-proclaiming the title of football rules expert, we've also considered a career switch to work as a full-time referee. Until we found out one of the worst secrets that the NFL is hiding from us. Number 1, referees in the NFL are only hired as part-time officials. Number 2, NFL NFL is worse than your local retail store when it comes to wages. Most NFL referees are underpaid and rely on their day jobs to earn their livelihood. So even if the NFL offers them special courses on football rules or workshops, they simply don't have enough time to commit. Technically, the NFL can't demand much from its officials due to insignificant wages. The league can consider making officiating a full-time job, but like any other corporation, the NFL is scared of unionization. Given these horrible circumstances, we can't ask too much of the referees. You have to accept your fate when it comes to enraging decisions and some obvious incorrect calls. Just don't break your TV in two. Not to make things worse than they already are, but we have to talk about what goes around in NFL locker rooms. When we visualize NFL locker rooms, we mostly think about that sweaty stench, Axe body spray, pre-match routines, post-match frenzy, and whatnot. Locker rooms allow the players to be themselves, but the NFL has no checks and balances on locker room conversation. You know what they say, boys will be boys. But in recent years, locker room conversations have taken up some very derogatory tangents, and the NFL doesn't care. An anonymous insider provided a pretty detailed account of NFL's locker rooms in an article published by the Rolling Stone. Finding some awful stuff about NFL players isn't shocking news, but the fact that the NFL goes out of its way to protect locker rooms' privacy is shady. The article highlighted that many players make sexist jokes at the expense of women they're hooking up with or dating. Amid harmless pranks, many veterans and rookies alike find their way to pass derogatory comments on women's bodies. Many footballers love to flaunt their recent sexual encounters while paying no heed to women's privacy or consent. Many footballers don't shy away from having some good times with their groupies or consuming drugs that aren't exactly legal. Of course, the NFL can regulate what goes around in the locker rooms, but if a footballer is bringing media attention, you can get away with everything, even with incidents of racism and homophobia. The NFL has turned a blind eye because, quote, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, unquote. Truly an American sport, huh? Next up, what is the NFL hiding about its healthcare? Football isn't an easy sport to play, and it's heavy on the medical expenses of many players. Now, in a sport that mostly operates on bone-crushing and concussion-inducing plays or foul plays, you'll expect the NFL to do better than most health insurance companies. But nope, their terrible healthcare secret would make you send a thank you note to your insurance officer. The league would never tell you this, but they require all the injured players to pass almost 24 assessments to find their eligible medical plan. 24! Even if an injured player finds an appropriate medical plan, it's heavily underfunded, and sometimes the players get no money at all. Yep, NFL players are just like us. They mostly rely on Medicare initiatives, their insurance plans, and Obamacare. Before you come up with the "oh, but players have enough money to afford healthcare" argument, consider the rookie players that are just starting their careers. Poor healthcare can cost them their entire career, and apparently the NFL is okay with taking such drastic risks. American sports programs produce some unbelievable football talent, so the NFL hardly has any trouble with the new draft. And finally, why does the NFL hoard stadiums? Believe it or not, the NFL's secret money-making machine is the stadium. Before they got their non-profit status revoked, the NFL threatened many states to move their teams unless they were given free yet flashy stadiums. And of course, a football-obsessed nation has always delivered. After spending millions on construction programs, the league is infamous for retiring its stadium before moving on to more modern sports domes. So what happened to the retired stadiums or practice fields? Instead of repurposing the fields, the NFL sold them for spare cash, or rented them out to any willing party. And yep, pocketed that money too. Your home team striving to build some world-class billion-dollar stadiums isn't a natural phenomenon. The NFL indeed pressurizes cities to build modern stadiums to not only generate expensive ticket price brackets, but also to flex their rich league status. Many teams mostly redirect the city's finances to make impressive domes because the NFL serves them with some pretty rigid demands. The league refuses to host games on cheap fields and always upholds some realistic standards for the games that'll be sold out. And that's some of the many secrets of the NFL that no one talks about. That's a wrap for this video. Which of these best kept NFL secrets shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.